Today we are talking about how to reinvent yourself. Pick up any habit and make it look easy. This is a no bullshit video I've made for the ladies who are looking to step up into their next phase as confident, high value women. So if you are tired of not being in control of your life, ready to change up your physique, glow up and stun all the haters, ready to be a magnetic woman whose energy attracts quality men who want to be in a relationship with you, you first need to learn how to master any habit you want, and I'm going to show you how to make that look super easy and make sure that your transformation results stick for good. Number one, why learning how to make habits stick is the most important part of transforming yourself. Number two, 3 rules to pick up any habit and make it look easy. Number 3, some important habits that you should be taking off to become a high value woman. Hello my lovelies, welcome back to the channel where it's all about helping women glow up to attract quality relationship men through dating apps. You might be thinking, Laura, why are you so confident to talk about a topic like this? So to give you a little bit backstory about me, I've just turned 30 this year. All my life I've struggled with body insecurities, probably since I was 11, which is 19 years. And at about 19 when I went to college, I started really deep diving into weight loss strategies. I wanted to look good, I wanted to glow up. And then at 21, I had a really toxic relationship, which then led me to locking myself up in my room for a good 8 months. So I dived into a lot of self-development work and inner work because I had to get out of a really dark place. Now, when you put it that way, I guess I was a really messed up young girl and I was just really unhappy with myself and I craved validation from everyone. And this led me to things like bulimia. If you guys know what it is, it's horrible. For y'all who don't know, it's an eating disorder where I throw up my food in the name of being skinny. I over-exercise, I was in toxic relationships, I end up putting myself in high-pressure sales, male-dominated sales roles or industries like real estate just to prove a point. And after all of that, going through all of that, I had to read heaps of books, podcasts, get coaching, and learn new skills, learn new habits, how to maintain them, change my body, change my identity, all because I didn't want to be that sad young girl who kept feeling like she needed someone else's approval to feel whole. And I wanted to have control, to feel confident in myself, in my own skin, and to become someone who I was proud of. Now, many years later, lots of hard work and lots of heartbreak later, I commonly get the compliment of, Laura, how are you so disciplined? How can you learn such a hard skill so quickly? It's like you can just pick up anything. Granted, it's taken a long time, but in the last few years, I'm very proud to say I have put my foot down. I'm not willing to fit into a 5 a.m. lifestyle, into a short-term crash diet, and chant positive affirmations to myself every morning just for the sake of it. I am now wiser and I have learned how to figure out how to honor my body, my mind, and how I feel while still keeping on track with my goals and leveling myself up through the year by creating a plan that actually fits my lifestyle. I'm no longer trying to fit into a box that someone else has made up for me, and inversely, I've managed to achieve more goals and sustain more habits than I've ever had. So whoever is interested in some no bullshit practical advice that actually works, here we go. Point number 1. Why learning how to make habits stick is the most important part of transforming yourself. This is like learning how to drive before you buy a car. If you don't know how to drive, you will crash. And the worst part about crashing is that the more that you crash, the more that you will build the belief that you will crash or fail. Which is why so many people find it so difficult to start a diet, pick up a habit. It's the expectations that you put on yourself that you must not fail. But you're scared because you slipped a couple of times like a normal human being and now you feel really bad and you're worried that that might happen again. And the worst thing is that now you expect that this new thing that is hard, that is drastically changing yourself, to be a seamless journey to the destination. Girl, that's crazy! But it's not your fault. Most programs out there have been put through a marketing campaign that is aimed at selling drastic results in a short time frame. So that the program sells. Not so that you lose weight, it's so that the program sells. And they only showed the top few transformations who actually made it. If any program were honest and they actually showed you their success percentage, for the most, it would probably only be about 20% or less of the people who started off actually got to their end goal or their desired results. That means that 80% of people who start don't make it to the end or their desired results. It's just so unrealistic. But let me just prove my point. Let's say we stick with the weight loss example. It's January 1st, new year, new me. You want to lose 5 kilos, so you make a plan to work out maybe, say, 4 to 5 days a week, eat clean, no alcohol, standard. Week 1, you're at the gym, you're very sore, but you managed to follow the plan to a T, you're very proud of yourself. Week 2, you've meal prepped, but you're tired, but excited because you've nailed week 1. Cravings are starting to come up, but you push through. Week 3, you're already starting to think, how can I sneak a couple of my comfort foods in because I'm freaking hungry? And you end up going to the gym 3 out of 5 days of the week because you have a life and things happen. And you step on the scale again, desperately wanting to see some results to keep you going and motivated, but you see little to no results whatsoever. But you realize I've got to keep going because I've got an 8-week challenge to complete. Week 4, you're now tired, you're hungry, you're constantly in the bad mood, your sex drive no longer exists. That was me all the time, dry as a desert. And you are trying so hard to keep on track because you've slipped a couple of times now and you've demolished 2 bags of chips each time. And there's a birthday party coming up on the weekend, but you just told yourself, I just won't have cake and I won't drink. And who knows what happened? 1 too many drinks later, you tell yourself, you know what, that's okay. I'm just going to go for an extra hard run tomorrow and burn off all the calories. By week 5, you're so burnt out and now you're feeling like you're missing out on everything in life. You're now anxious, depressed, and sad all at the same time. By now, it's only a matter of time. It's either you pray to God that you pull through the last few weeks or you give up and have an entire week of binge eating and eat back your weight. Sounds familiar? I've been through so many of these. And this happens with every other habit. You start strong and then it slowly dies off. And then 3 months after you start the habit, you now hate this habit so much because you are ashamed of failing and you don't even want to think about it. And you're back to looking for something new again that will finally work. Well, the truth is that you won't stop crashing until you learn how to drive. When you learn how to drive or pick up new habits a smart way, then only can you make real long-lasting progress. This is why point 2 is dedicated to show you how I do it with much more ease and with much more success for longer. It's no magic, it's just common sense, but here we go. Alright, point number 2, 3 rules to pick up any habit and make it look easy. So I've broken it down to 3 rules or frameworks. Number 1 is pick one change at one time that you can see yourself doing for an entire year. Number 2, make it make sense. Number 3, celebrate inputs, not just results. So number 1, pick one change at a time that you can see yourself doing for a year. Let's keep with the fitness example because I feel like most people can relate to this. I'm not a dietitian, not a fitness trainer, so I'm generalizing based on the information I've learned and know about losing weight, and there are basically 3 main things that will impact your weight loss results the most. Number 1, calories in, food you eat. Number 2, calories out, exercise. Number 3, recovery. Very simple, don't complicate it. The general rule about losing weight is to keep calories in lower than calories out. We'll leave out the muscle building and increasing your metabolism for now. So there are 3 main things that will impact your weight the most. Calories in, calories out, and recovery. So the general rule is to keep your calories in lower than your calories out. Got it? Perfect. So most weight loss plans will get you to focus on all of the 3 main things at once. Eat well, exercise more, recover well. But we all know that that sort of plan has us ending up feeling tired, fatigued, feeling like a failing, and probably binge eating all the weight back anyway. So I want you to focus on just one of them. I want you to pick the easiest one for you. It's different for everybody. So for me, it was way easier to increase my exercise rather than reduce what I ate. Now that we've picked something to focus on, the key is to implement something that you can see yourself maintaining for the rest of the year easily. So instead of having a goal of going to the gym 4 to 5 days a week, can I do 2 to 3 days a week for the rest of the year? Honestly, for me personally, no, I can't. That might come as a shock to a lot of people, but I can't, and that's okay. It is completely okay that you cannot keep up something that you think will be embarrassing to say out loud because no one cares. Only thing that you should care about is that if you can keep up that habit continuously, if you want to build a habit successfully. So I thought to myself, what sort of exercise can I do for the rest of the year that I can keep up? I can walk. I like walking. I like walking with Pat. So I found a healthy amount of steps that I should be doing a day is anywhere from 6 to 10,000 steps a day. Cool. I reckon I could do 8 easily. So I picked that. Back in the day, I used to be obsessed with habit trackers. It's so satisfying. I love being able to just like tick something off the list. Every day that you do that thing, you basically cross out one box or you color that box in depending on what sort of habit tracker you're using. It's so satisfying. Here are a couple of examples. You can basically type in habit tracker into Google and print out whatever works for you. I've put one together that's super simple, super cute. Just go to the link in my description, drop me your email so I can send it to you. Number 3, celebrate inputs and not just results. Like I said before, picking up a new habit is hard. Celebrating makes it fun. My relationship with fun is a very new one, and I've only realized that how important it is in the last few years, and I am not going back. If you had an Asian upbringing, you knew that fun was irresponsible. Means that you were basically, whenever you had fun, you were going backwards in life. So you definitely weren't taught to celebrate the small things. This is super important, and it's basically creating a positive feedback loop. So a positive feedback loop is when you do something that makes you want to do more of it. In this case, it's celebrating our inputs. Traditionally, society has taught us to celebrate outcomes. When you get a high score, when you reach your destination, when you accomplish something, but it's not during the process, which is wild. Because if you've been on this earth long enough, you know that there is no getting to your destination without the journey. So I want you to celebrate the journey and the effort that you're putting in during the journey. The things that you do to sustain the habit. For example, after the end of every walk, I do my little yes, yes, yes. And it's a bit cheesy, it's a bit weird, but that works for me. And at the end of the first week, I go and have some wine, celebrate for doing my steps for the entire week. And then the second week, I go yes, 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 after all my walks again. And then I might go out for a nice dinner with Pat. And then the third week, I go yes, yes, yes. And then I might do something else over the weekend again to celebrate 3 weeks. 3 whole weeks going for 8,000 steps every day. And by the fourth week, to be honest, at this point, I usually just feel like it's something like that I do and don't really feel the need to celebrate anymore. When the current one feels like it's starting to become like second nature to you and you spend little to no conscious energy really having to think about going to do it, this is when I decided that calories in was going to be my next thing that I was going to tackle for however long it took. I just dedicated myself to tracking my calories and not even restricting, just tracking. And I was surprised that because I was still consistent with my steps and me just being aware of my calorie intake, I was starting to subconsciously pick healthier options. And even after the dinners, after the wine, after eating whatever I was eating at the time, I still lost about 2 kilos by the end of the second month. So that was pretty cool. Even now that I'm not really focusing on any sort of like fitness goals, I still do my steps because it's just what I do. I actually feel a bit weird and feel a bit yucky if I don't do my steps. And I finally got myself a walking treadmill because my work right now requires me to sit in front of the computer for way longer than I would like. So by 12 o'clock some days, I'll get like maybe 300 steps in, which is shocking, but you do what you have to. Now that you're all fired up and itching to dip your toes into picking up a new habit, let's go through some important habits that you should be ticking off to become a high value woman. Point number 3, important habits you should be ticking off to become a high value woman. This is going to be a short one, but so important if you want to distinguish yourself from just another pretty face and another hot body. You're going to be the multifaceted stunner that they can't get enough of. If you want to write this down, you can. The habits are: number 1, staying in a healthy physique. Number 2, consume knowledge about intergender dynamics, which is basically to understand the differences between how men and women perceive the world, how they communicate, and how they approach intimate relationships. Number 3, practices that bring you inner peace and self-love. Walking nature, having fun, having a wine with friends, yoga, breath work, inner work. Number 4, engaging in self-development material or courses. Basically leveling up to become your best self. Spiritually, mentally, career-wise. Being a high-value woman isn't something that you're born with. It is a skill set. So no matter your past, you can start with day 1 right now. I shared my backstory with you guys earlier, and if back then someone would have told me that I would turn out to be a woman who had control over her emotions, felt confident in her own skin, and is capable of earning $10,000 to $20,000 a month, I wouldn't believe that they were talking about the same girl who was throwing up her food and crying in a room for 8 months after a breakup. I'm very passionate about sharing these lessons I've learned because I know that your past does not determine your future. And I want to help anyone who wants to level up and be proud and in control of their life and have all the tools that they need to do so. Especially belief, because I believe you can do this. Just keep going. In 1 to 2 years, you'll look back and you'll be surprised at the person you have become. You've got this. So if you guys want me to make a video on how to build up any of these habits, on how to start, where to start, what to do, let me know in the comments below so I can make a video about it to help you out. And if you love this video, you'll love the next one. It's called How to Conquer Your 20s. I wanted to make this next one a little bit more fun, so it's going to be a mix of dating in your 20s, leveling up in your 20s, the massive lessons I've learned to shortcut my earnings, having boundaries and how to stop pleasing everyone. That one's coming up next week, so make sure you hit subscribe so you know when it's out. See you then!